Welcome back to another episode of Political Pulse. I'm Isabella Rocha. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the sweeping tariffs imposed by President Donald Trump under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act are unlawful. In a 6-3 vote, the court decided that the act does not give the president authority to impose tariffs. The ruling invalidates the 10% Universal Liberation Day tariffs announced in April of 2025. It also blocks tariffs enacted earlier in February of 2025 that target imports from Canada, China, and Mexico. Various court justices emphasized in their written opinions that Congress alone holds the power to impose tariffs. Jeffrey Epstein's estate grants $35 million to settle a lawsuit against the alleged financial advisors aiding the Epstein sex trafficking of young women. This deal could potentially conclude a former 2024 lawsuit, including co-executors of Epstein's estate, Darren Indyke and Richard Kahn. Although neither Indyke or Kahn have admitted to wrongdoings, the estate organized a reinstitution fund of $121 million to victims with an additional $49 million in settlements. Their lawyer, Daniel H. Weiner, said that the settlement would serve as a quote, confident avenue of financial relief for the victims. Massachusetts media director Valentina Amaro Bowser sued the Trump administration last month for its visa application policies. The Trump administration responded this week, stating that the federal district court does not have jurisdiction over the case. Initially from Venezuela, Bowser had lived in the U.S. since 2013, where she studied, worked, and married a U.S. citizen. At the start of last year, she applied for permanent residency without a concern for any delays, but is now found without a job due to a hold on applications for Venezuelan citizens after her H-1B visa expired on February 14th. Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey issued a statement to the proposed addition of an ICE detention center in New Hampshire last Friday. She stated that ICE wants to build a 400-bed facility to, quote, supercharge their horrific deportation tactics. After demanding that New Hampshire Governor Kelly Ayotte block this proposal, Ayotte blamed her for the immigration crisis and said to, quote, focus on her own state. After this break, we talk national news and hear from our business correspondent. Stay with us.
Jason, let's go see your room.
What do you think? We kept it a little spare, so you can decorate it how you like.
Dinner!
Go. Excellent. Soccer is fun. Yeah, I saw you guys out there. We're the family. Help out. Yeah! Oh, I thought you were on my team. Wait,
Welcome back to Political Pulse. National Institute of Health Director Jay Bhattacharya will also become the temporary acting director of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention until the role can later be filled. He will be the third leader of the CDC during the President Trump's second term. Previous CDC Director Susan Monarez was fired less than a month after taking the role last semester for refusing to approve requested vaccine schedule changes. Deputy Health Secretary Jim O'Neill had been serving as the acting CDC Director, overseeing those vaccine changes before his departure last week. For more on business news, we now go to our business correspondent, Lorena Rivera.
Thanks, Bella. The U.S. economy grew much slower than expected in the fourth quarter. Economists surveyed by the Long Stock Exchange Group had expected the economy to grow at a 3% rate, but instead it grew at a 1.4%. The fourth quarter's 4.1% growth was lower than the 4.4% gross domestic product growth recorded in the third quarter. Emerson has surpassed Walmart as the world's top company based on their 2025 sales. Walmart reported an annual revenue of $713 billion, falling short to Amazon's $716 billion in revenue. Amazon revenue has increased more than Walmart's on the past decade as consumers opt toward more online browsing and shopping. The grandson of the inventor of Reese's Peanut Butter Cup has accused the Hershey Company of hurting Reese's brand. The company has allegedly shifted to cheaper ingredients in many products. In the light of the accusations, Hershey said that the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups continue to be made with milk chocolate and peanut butter that the company makes from roasted peanuts and other ingredients, including sugar and salt. That's all I have for business news. Back to you at the desk.
At least 12 Democratic members of Congress plan to boycott President Trump's State of the Union address on Tuesday.
The two options that are in front of us in our House is to either attend with silent defiance or to not attend and send a message to Donald Trump in that fashion.
Instead, they'll join a national mall rally billed as counter-programming to the president's speech. Some members include Massachusetts Senator Ed Markey, Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy, Texas Representative Veronica Escobar, and Representative Pramila Jayapal of Washington. Coming up, we talk international news. Stick with us.
Jason, let's go see your room.
What do you think? We kept it a little spare, so you can decorate it how you like.
Dinner!
Go. Excellent. Soccer is fun. Yeah, I saw you guys out there. We're the family.
Yeah!
I thought you were on my team. Wait,
Welcome back. Vatican City says it will not participate in President Donald Trump's Board of Peace initiative.
I think it's deeply unfortunate. I don't think that peace should be partisan or political or controversial. And of course, the administration wants all those.
Diplomat Pietro Parolin said international crises should be handled. Our international correspondent Anthony Ciano joins us to talk Iran, Venezuela, and more.
Thanks, Bella. President Donald Trump appears ready to carry out military operations in Iran. The Pentagon has been gathering a large strike force in the Middle East in the past couple weeks. Military officers on board aircraft carriers and warships in the region tell the Washington Post that their deployment time is being extended. The warships are told to sail for the Strait of Gibraltar, bringing them in a range for a potential attack on Iran. President Trump has not confirmed whether the U.S. is planning an attack, but says that U.S. citizens would find out in the next 10 to 15 days. Venezuelan lawmakers passed an amnesty bill that could release hundreds of political prisoners. The bill comes amid mounting pressure from the United States on interim President Delcy Rodriguez to distance herself from Venezuela's authoritarian government and increase U.S. interests. However, the bill is already facing protests from Venezuelans and international rights groups, who say that the bill fails to release hundreds of falsely held prisoners. Of the nation's estimated 600 to 900 political detainees, the amnesty bill will only free those connected to about a dozen specific events. 4 journalists, including 3 freelance reporters from the Associated Press, were detained in Cameroon after investigating immigrants deported by the Trump administration. The journalists were questioned by law enforcement, who took their laptops, phones, and cameras. They were reporting from a migrant detention center where deportees who are not from Cameroon are now being held. The Trump administration declines to comment on whether the U.S. has a deportation agreement with Cameroon or if legal actions would be taken. All 4 journalists are now released. That's all I have for international news. Back to you at the desk.
After meeting with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, President Trump announced Tuesday that the U.S. will withdraw from the top UN human rights body. The U.S. will also not resume funding for the UN agency helping Palestinian refugees. Trump has also ordered a review of the U.S. funding for the United Nations and its role in UNESCO. It currently stands as the largest contributor, paying 22% of the UN's operating budget. Palmerston, the Diplo cat extraordinaire who served as the British Foreign Office's chief mouser, passed away peacefully last Thursday at 12 years old. The feline chief was tasked with being in charge of handling mice in one of the British government's grandest buildings. Palmerston became a social media star, earning over 100,000 followers on X. In Palmerston's 2020 retirement letter to the office's top civil servant, he admitted to pretending to be asleep while overhearing all the foreign dignitaries' conversations. The famous cat will be remembered by many of his fans. That's all for Political Pulse. Join us next time and make sure to follow WEBN Political Pulse on Instagram and subscribe to WEBN Boston on YouTube.